afternoon, Sir Mendoza. Once again, thank you for accepting our invitation to be our interviewer for this day. First question is, are you still studying even when you're already teaching?
Right now, since I already finished my master's degree in information technology last 2012, by now, 2015, I was just able to enroll in a Bible school, and I'm currently taking up this. I enrolled into one subject, which is systematic theology. So it's really a book or a study about God and everything. So there's a lot of information, there are a lot of books you need to read and study.
So, in terms of studying, sir, what is your opinion on self-study and group study?
Self-study versus group study. Self-study, the both have their own advantages and disadvantages. So, for example, in the self-study, the advantage is you get to easily focus on what you're reviewing, and then you can absorb things, because sometimes whenever I do self-study, I would prefer doing it in a quiet place, sometimes early in the morning, so that my mind is fresh, and I can easily memorize things, I can easily absorb things. That's the advantage of the self-study. The disadvantage, on the other hand, is that doing that, if you have questions, let's say for example you're reviewing a mathematical formula and you forgot this specific formula, how did it come up with such formula? So there are no people whom you can ask questions to. So maybe you can search on the internet, but then sometimes it's much better to do it in a group study. So that's the advantage of group study, since you work as a team, you depend on each other, and if someone has his or her question, then he can ask the group, the help of the group, and sometimes it's the study process itself becomes more enjoyable when you do it by group, and you can review each other, you can ask questions to one another. So sometimes it says that two is better than one. Sometimes it's like, as a team, as a group, you become more productive. You can do more compared to the self study.
So, sir, which learning style do you personally prefer?
Personally, since I'm a type of person who is independent, I prefer self-study because I want to really focus on things. I can be productive more when I do things alone. But there are a few times wherein we will do research together with the team. We can ask questions together. So, but then I still prefer self-study.
Sir, why do you think why do you think group study is ineffective for your study?
Personally, I'm not really ineffective, but less effective compared to self-study. It is effective, but then I find self-study much effective compared to group study. Why? Because with group study, sometimes if I want to learn things abruptly, or is it a lot easier than if there are group study. I tend to be a person who's teaching them, so I couldn't really focus. Yes, I want to share my knowledge, I want to share what I know, but sometimes since you are an independent person, these students or your classmates will ask you questions. So sometimes you on your own, you cannot review because your classmates keep on asking you questions. So yeah.
So, sir, which learning style produces higher marks or grades for your students?
For my students, I can see that the students right now, they want to do things by group. They want to play safe. Joke lang. Just kidding. They want to do things a little bit lighter, since when you work as a team or as a group, when you study as a group, the burden itself becomes lighter. So maybe that's one of the best benefits of doing group study or group projects. Why? Because the task can be divided. For example, if you study as a group, or you will study chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4 to you, and then you will share together what you have studied or learned, what you have realized, and then you can come up into a collaborative process wherein this collaboration produces much or better knowledge or understanding and deeper analysis of the things that you need to study. So that's the advantage. So with my students, group work or group study is much effective because they get to share their knowledge to each other and divide the task.
So for the last part, is there anything you want to say for students, whether they engage in self-study or group study? I mean, what is your motivational or encouraging words?
With regard to that, I would say that it's still up to them, but I want them to not to really study hard, but to study wise, smart. Study smart in a way na tagal, in a way that study not though the study per se is really hard, but then you enjoy it. You study smart in a way that you do things in a much efficient way, in an easier way, but much productive. Just like that, because there are things that you're doing it hard, but there's no results. There are no results. So you need to assess the way you want or the way you do studying. So if you think that it is smarter to do it as an individual, as a self-study, then you can do that. But then it's not, you cannot really avoid doing group study still, because sometimes it's where the fun of learning things together. It's really there, the collaborative process, the way how God created us to be dependent to each other. You can really see there that His strength is your weakness, then my strength is His weakness. Then you can work together and you can complement to each other as a group. Then you can produce better results and study things in a faster and easier way. So I want them to enjoy studying, and as they enjoy and study smart, I should say that aside from getting or aiming a higher grade, they need to focus on learning things more. Learn things more, not just to do things easier, but to do things in a process wherein they could really understand things. Not to just do this thing is easy, but then you can do it in an easier way, but in a much full of learning experience. Because there are students now, they study, but they don't learn things. They just want to do things in an easy way, but they don't learn.
They don't learn.
Yes. So I should say that they should prefer to. It's okay to get higher grades, but grades is just grades. But once you graduate, that doesn't really matter. But what matters most is what you have learned. If you really learn from the things that you're doing. So there, study smart and then pursue excellence in your studies.
Once again, sir, thank you for inviting us.
No problem.